Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradeToLife.com and welcome to this quote of the week video in which I would like to remind you again on the power of your imagination, because sometimes we forget. Sometimes we just go through life, we lose ourselves again in the circumstances, we think, oh yeah, imagination, this was this one thing that Nicholas and also Neville, they talked about that, but yeah, whatever, it's fantasy, it's not important to me. I have those overwhelming circumstances in front of me right now, so that's it, and I just have to, in some way, shape, or form, deal with that. But that's simply a very limited point of view, and that's simply not a fun way to engage in life, and that's simply not true, because you can utilize your imagination consciously to encounter and to bring forth new circumstances in your life. And that's what I would like to remind you on right now. So let's look in the quote from Neville Goddard. He said, "Whatever the mind of man can imagine, man can realize. All objective, meaning visible states, what is now expressed in your world, were first subjectively invisible states, right? And you called them into visible by assuming the feeling of their reality. The creative process is first imagining and then believing the state imagined. Always imagine and expect the best. The world cannot change until you change your conception of it. As within, so without." Now let's go into the quote and talk about it in more detail, because I think already the first sentence is something that we forget, right? Whatever you can imagine, whatever you can desire, you can realize. Otherwise, you could not even have the desire. And I say this in so many videos, but it was such a huge revelation and light bulb moment also for me on my journey. Is I sometimes thought, oh yeah, I desire this so much, so strongly, but what if it is not possible? What if I can't achieve it? But now realize again, the fact alone that you can desire something, like you can only desire something that is already in existence. Logically, really think about this right now. How could you desire something that is not there, that you don't know the wish fulfillment about, that you don't know how it would feel to have it? Like having a desire means that this state of the wish fulfilled also does exist, is already within the finished creation, because creation is finished, every possible state is available. So now when you have a desire, you can be really relieved, even if it's just for a second, and remember, wait a second, okay, even though it's not manifested and I don't see it visibly in front of me, that state does exist. It is available. Otherwise, I couldn't even be aware of that and wish that. So it's like an impulse given to you, and you can express that state, but you need to occupy it, of course. But the good news is that whatever you can imagine, whatever you can desire, whatever your desire is right now, you can realize, you can manifest. And all objective states, meaning everything, every circumstance that is now in your life. Look in your finances, look in your relationship, look in your health, look in your lifestyle, look in your family situation, in all life areas. They were first invisible states, right? So nothing, so everything is coming basically from the unseen reality. We assume something either wittingly or unwittingly. Most people, sadly, they unwittingly, dwell on undesirable states and, oh no, hopefully I don't get this, boom, they get it. Because they're still dwelling on that state unknowingly, and then that state expresses in their life that assumption. And again, we called them into the visible, right? They were manifested because we assumed the feeling of their reality. We dwelt on it, we imagined it subconsciously until a point where we believed it, and then it happened. But now we can utilize the same thing that we did all our lives unconsciously to from now on do it consciously. So from now on you have a desire, then that's basically an invisible state, right? You desire this invisible state that already does exist. And if you assume the feeling of that state, if you assume the feeling of the reality of that state that you want, right, of who you want to be, of what you want to have, you make it natural. You assume, how would I see the world? What would it feel like if I would already have this? How would people see me? What would imply to me? Which scene, which act would imply to me that I have this? Then you start to dwell on this invisible inner state that this world can't see yet. Only you can internally dwell in it already. And then it will also, over time, be seen to the world, to your family and friends and everyone around you. But it was first an invisible state. And this is the summary, right? The creative process is first imagining. So first we need to identify and we need to align with that desired invisible state, which right now is not noticeable. It's outside of the senses, like Neville liked to call it, right? Your desire is outside of your rational mind. That is what he said. Your mind can't believe how your desire can come to pass. It's impossible for the mind. But when you zoom out, when you start to imagine that state and feel the reality of that state, you kind of see, wow, it actually does exist. It is there already because creation is finished. So I can tap into that unmanifested potential already and therefore bring it into being, therefore manifest it if I internally align myself with that invisible state. So we first need to imagine it. We first need to identify it because we do it. We start to believe that it is real. So the more we dwell in it, the more we nurture that state, the more we imagine that state, the more we start to believe it. It feels more certain, more natural. We feel like, yes, of course that's me. Yes, of course that's what will happen to me. Right? We start to become really convinced about it. We've basically self-persuaded us that this is done, that this exists, that this is who we are, and then it can manifest. So always imagine and expect the best, right? And don't forget that when there are circumstances that you don't like, don't lose yourself in them and think that you now have to solve problems and just in some way cope with them as they are right now. Watch the video I did called Don't Focus on Solving Problems, Focus on Shifting States. I will link this above right now so that because if you solve problems, you will remain in the current room, in the current state that you're in. But the solution is outside of the current state. The solution is in the wish fulfilled. So you want to leave problem solving and instantly shift into the state where the problem no longer exists. And then therefore, the circumstances will over time dissolve and we will get a new life, new circumstances, the things that we actually want. Right? And also I like this snippet here, expect the best. Meaning, Neville once said, confident expectation of a state is one of the most potent means to bring that state about, to manifest that reality, to manifest that state. If you confidently expect it, so you're not just hoping, no hope, like Abdullah said, no hope. We don't want to hope, we want to confidently expect it. That's what I expect, that's what my standard is, and I don't accept anything less than that, right? So the world cannot change until you change your conception of it, meaning until you are internally standing, until you internally go in a new direction. If you internally dwell in the same states, you will get the same things externally. If you internally go in a new state into who you want to be, what you want to have a life, then that is what your life can give you. That is what your life can confirm, right? See life as a confirming mirror that shows you what you have a life within yourself, all the states that you dwell in within, or that you dwelled on within. And now there is this desire that you have, which is a state. If you now internally imagine being in that state and viewing the world from that state and making that one state more natural, and that is who you identify with. That is what you, of course, assume and know to have and know to be. And then your life can confirm that state again. Because, like Neville said, as within, so without. So just keep, these are basically the only four words that you need to know. As within, so without. So you can't expect the without to change if you don't first change the within. Very, very basic. This is nothing new for you, but still it is important to remember on that. Okay? That's already it for the quote. So it's just a reminder to imagine, right? Always imagine. Don't fall asleep again and forget it. So look into your life right now. Are there triggers? Is everything as you want it to be? If yes, amazing. Then continue, live life, go in your everyday life and just enjoy it. If there are things you are not happy about, you're dissatisfied with, then why would you accept it? Like, see that you have this capacity to imagine something else, to imagine your ideal, and to assume any role that you want to play in this game of life, and then play it. Right? And imagine yourself to be it, and make this your new version of you, so that this can express. And then you made a new within, which will result in a new without. I also talk more about that, of course, in the free masterclass. First link in the description. And if you want to deeply apply all of those principles and make them a lifestyle and live by them and manifest your desires, and you want some accountability on that, then of course also check out my program. That's the second link in the video description. So I hope that you liked this quote, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye guys.